Did you experience a crash on your Veteran Lynx or Veteran Sherman L due to pedal dipping?
Oh. Oi, oi.
Are you tired of seeing your friends crash because of a software issue on a LeaperKim wheel?
We don't want that!
Or maybe you just lost balance on your wheel and you didn't really know why, but after looking at the footage, you saw that this wheel just behaves a little strange.
Let's go!
Well, if that's the case, then this video is for you. And today I'm gonna explain to you why there's something weird going on with the Veteran softwares, especially the Veteran Lynx and the Veteran Sherman L, and why this issue needs to be fixed ASAP. So let me tell you more about it. So for the longest time when I have been seeing crashes, well, this wheel just suddenly goes down on its nose, I thought that this is rider error. And for most of the time, this has been the statement all around the community and also from Veteran. And I've been trying to figure this issue out with Veteran, but their communication and their willingness to fix issues has been underwhelming to say the least, or maybe it started with underwhelming when I was explaining how this cannot be rider error because the riders were experienced, the conditions are the same, but suddenly there's huge pedal dipping on the wheel. And Veteran was just like, no, it's rider error, that's it. And throughout the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to convince them that this is actually a software issue. I've been even sending them log files. And after clarifying to them that this is of utmost importance for the safety of all of LeaperKim riders, they just told me, and I quote, "We care about safety more than you." What does that even mean? And what kind of attitude is this? And I said, guys, I really didn't want to bring up the receipts, but the experience has been just so underwhelming and I see no progress at all that I need to make this video. And I believe that there is a software issue on this wheel, and with this issue, your health and your safety depends on it. So because I care about safety less than Veteran, I make this video so you can be safe on your Veteran wheel. Wow, crazy. And just to be clear, I don't want to be fear-mongering here. If you're just casually riding around the city, if you're just doing some casual off-road, this issue isn't really that big for you. And it's not like, oh, you go out on your wheel and you'll just suddenly crash. No, this issue is the most present if you want to get out of your comfort zone and you have sudden acceleration bursts or torque bursts. So this usually happens if you could hit a big bump on the road and you will be accelerating, then it might dip. You might try to get into jumping, and even on small jumps, if you lean into the pads, then it might dip as well. Or if you're trying to go upstairs, if you're trying to tackle some steep inclines, these are all situations where you might lose balance due to the software issue on a Veteran wheel. Now, the biggest dips I have seen on the Lynx and on the Veteran Sherman L, but I believe the software is similar throughout all of their wheels, but on these ones, it's the most sort of visible and problematic. So first up, what am I even talking about? And this issue is very subtle, and oftentimes you might mistake it for rider error, or you might mistake it for, lack of skill. But actually it's not, and it's so tough to find out because we don't have a throttle. On EUCs, it's not like we push the throttle and suddenly we have less power. No, they are always balancing, so it's really tough to feel out those issues. But what is essentially happening is that the wheel, during sudden bursts of torque acceleration, can dip to the front. This can happen on flat ground, this can happen when climbing uphill, this can happen when going up a ramp and you're accelerating into it too much. Now the issue here is that the threshold of power draw when this is happening is dramatically lower as to where it should be, and I'll talk about it a bit later. This threshold from my testing and several tries of doing inclines and accelerating on flat ground is around 110 amps.
And that was a dip. Okay, I'll try to go again. Ooh, a bit of a dip.
While beeps for me start at around 150, 180 amps when I'm going up a hill that is sandy and the wheel starts to spin out.
Fine, let's go. Again, other sandy incline, let's go. Right up there.
So the issue here is that the dip is before a beep. So you suddenly go up to a threshold and there's no turning back. The pedals just dip, and especially if you do a steep ramp, you just lose balance because the wheel throws you off to the front.
Oh! Go.
Now this issue is even more apparent, and it can happen more likely if you have your pedals dipped to the front or if you have a soft mode enabled, so pedal stiffness at 0%, 30%, anything less than 100, and also if you have acceleration assist on. And I believe that this issue is happening more often recently because we got an update where the acceleration assist setting by default is at 50, and there's a range between 0 to 100. And I believe 50 is a little less than it was before originally when we didn't have this feature like available to mess around with in the software. So in this jump that you can see now by Łukasz, the acceleration assist is at 50%, but he also tried other jumps later, and suddenly at 0% acceleration assist and better settings, he still has this issue. So the threshold of where this is happening is very thin, and once it goes, it just goes. Further on, while investigating this problem, I found out that the Veteran Lynx also has huge sag that I sadly didn't notice before, so sorry about that, guys. Here, when I'm trying to do an incline, it drops from 80% to 12% battery, like 78% battery to 12, which is ridiculous. It's a huge sag and might be just overstressing the battery too much. Maybe this wheel is using too much power compared to what the battery is capable of. Here, in this case, I was testing the 50E, but here you can see a video of another rider who has a 50S version on even smaller jumps. Now, he weighs around 95 kilograms, but still on such small jumps, he also has this pedal dipping behaviors. So I'm not really sure how dependent it is on the batteries that you have. I do believe that it is mostly relying on the software and not the hardware of the wheel. So why am I theorizing that this is not rider error and this is the machine's error? Well, first of all, the wheel dips before the maximum power threshold is reached. The dip happens at around 110 amps, and when I was climbing up a steep incline, which was sandy as said before, it went up to 180 amps. So it very much seems like it has the power, it just decides to dip instead of using it. Reason number two is the wheel does not beep. Now on other wheels, if you reach a maximum power threshold, they will beep. And this will prevent you from overpowering it. And with this wheel, nothing happens. On all of the videos where I see the wheel dipping into the takeoff, there is no beep at all. And here on the video where you can see a Sherman L accelerating, I think it's a pretty soft mode, or the rider has set up a lot of acceleration assist, it beeps after it severely dips. So there's something going on with the safety systems where either one of them just doesn't communicate with the other, or something is just calculated wrongly, because I mean, in the end, we just see numbers on the app. We don't really know what's actually happening in the wheel. So I was also comparing the Veteran Lynx climbing abilities to the Bigot Blitz that I'm testing right now. And on the Blitz, like the power draw was just according to spec. When it was overpowering, it went up to 300 amps or 310 amps, and it beeps and it goes back. It doesn't beep every time, but I feel like it just dips when it's actually reaching the power threshold, and not like Veteran where it just sometimes happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard to predict. And when going up steep inclines, you can see that the Blitz is just staying straight, and it just transforms your lean into spinning, or the wheel spinning. And on this wheel, it starts bloop, leaning forward. And I had this issue many times before going up steep inclines in sand. It just starts dipping to the front instead of going up and staying straight and like sort of digging into the ground. Now, with any wheel, of course, you can overpower it going to the front, but with this one, I believe it's just a lot earlier and a lot less predictable and a lot less safer, because as said, it doesn't beep before it does that. So why is that happening? Well, as mentioned before, I believe it's some sort of software issue or safety features that just don't talk with one another on Veteran. Otherwise, the maximum amperage would be reached when the wheel dips, and there would be some sort of alarms. So something with the software is just not going right here. Second of all, when the wheel dips, it just has a constant max power, and while it might be rescuable at times, especially when going on flat ground, when you're going up a ramp and you start lifting forward, well, then you're screwed. And I think it's happening more on the softer modes and also on acceleration assist, because then there's more weight in front of the wheel, and when going up, the wheel almost accelerates by itself by having the balance in front of you. That you can see especially on my jump in Vienna. The wheel was already tilting forward a lot, and then it just crashed into its face. So maybe if there wasn't this software issue in there, I wouldn't have crashed, which does make me very angry because that was a nasty crash and it could have ended very badly. But of course, this is still a new sport, and things might go wrong. The thing is just that we need to work on the issues. And the thing is, I try to work it out with Veteran, and then I get messages like I mentioned in the beginning, and then I just get ghosted. Even though I'm providing more evidence, more information, data logs, etc., etc. It's just mind-blowing to me. With Begode, for example, I had an issue with tilt back in the air, and I mentioned it to them, and in 3 hours, I got to fix software. Now this is a difference in rider treatment and customer experience. With all that said, what can we actually do about it? Well, first of all, Veteran needs log files. So if you had an issue like that, go to your app, select download log files, and send it to linea@LeaperKim.com. Just be polite and respectful. There's no need to be angry or vulgar, even though that might be the emotion you're feeling. They just need to realize that they need to actually investigate this problem and fix it. Second of all, what can you do? Well, you can just stop using their wheels for doing some stuff that you're not comfortable with. Now, I'm in a very, blessed, and I'm so grateful to you guys for making it possible, position that I can use other wheels that I own. If you're just standing before a purchase, until they, at least provide a statement on what is happening with the wheel, I would refrain from buying such a wheel if you want to do some performance-oriented riding, jumps, steers, etc., etc. And if you still do want to use your LeaperKim Lynx or Veteran Sherman L for your performance riding, I have some settings for you that you can use that make it a bit safer, but I don't guarantee it, and you need to still take into account that you can just faceplant at some point. All of those basically mitigate the amount of power that will get into the wheel once you take off on a jump. So, if you've been jumping wheels that have less power, maybe you can feel it out, but sometimes you might just want to boost it a little and then you'll be in trouble. So number one, I would tilt the wheel back in the settings. So essentially 1.5 to 3 degrees. When the wheel is tilting back and you accelerate, it goes almost to flat, and then you can jump, and there will be less of this sort of self-acceleration issue when you're going up a ramp. So if you do jumps, if you do inclines, just tilt it back slightly so it doesn't go in the front all that much. Number two, you want to set up your acceleration assist to 0%. I was also jumping with 50 and 100, but it's a lot easier to suddenly accelerate too much and have this software issue than when you have the acceleration assist on 0. There the pedals are pretty flat. So if you do this, just stay with a 0% acceleration assist set up for your jumps. Number three, you want to lean back when doing jumps. So again, this goes back to not using all that much power on the wheel. When I was doing my jumps, the same jump actually where Łukasz crashed, I was using about 70 to 80 amps. So this is still okay, but you're just very close to this 110 amp cutoff point. Now, it might be also 120, 130, or it needs to be over a longer time period to have this dip actually happen. Number four, you can try avoiding steep jumps. So on flat jumps, it's not all that bad, and there weren't that many issues with the wheel dipping to the front when doing those jumps. But then again, you need to have your technique right and go fast into the jump and lean back when trying to take off. Another thing you might want to do is just stand further back on your pedals. I try to have my toes actually as far as the pedal is in the front, and my heels are almost like poking out. So this will also prevent self-acceleration or like too big acceleration on jumps. And the last setting is pedal stiffness. You want to have that on 100%. So again, the wheel doesn't just tilt to the front by itself. It's just less probable than to have this pedal dipping issue. But with that said, all of that is at your own risk. And from my side, I would advise you just not to do this until we have some sort of answer from veteran. My friend Łukasz, again, he was trying a bunch of jumps, everything was going well. Now he tried another jump and boom, he just fell because of the pedal dipping issue. So this is just very hard to feel out. There is no beep that will notify you. You can try perhaps to set up a alarm in darkness bot on or EUC World at around 90 or 100 amps. But then again, you often use more in daily rides and nothing happens. There's no issue. And usually there's also lag in those apps. So once you actually do draw too much power on the wheel, well, it will be already too late. I also have my PWM set up at 76%. So again, the calculations there are not right because the wheel shouldn't dip before it beeps. Also for heavier riders, it is a lot more probable to have this issue. Once again, you just use up more power if you do jumps or if you do inclines. So for lighter riders, it's less of an issue. Although still my friend Kuba, who is also jumping for a long time, had a pedal dipping issue on a jump that he did several times. So it's just so hard to have a clear solution to this and say, well, just do this and it'll be fine. I feel like there's no setting and there's no thing that will like 100% guarantee you to always be well off. Now, technique helps a lot and technique will mitigate the issue of this pedal dipping. But with that said, sometimes you'll just hit a bump and you might dip. You might just want to go slightly faster or boost into a jump and then this issue might happen. So with that said, let's make it clear to veteran that this is an actual issue. Something is wrong with their wheels and they need to fix it in order for us to safely push the boundaries of EUC. And for me, as it is now with the communication that is happening and with the issues that I see, the numbers I see on the app and what I see with this wheel happening in slow motion, it is just a deal breaker for me. And for the longest time, I thought it's my fault, but in the end, I think it's not. And yeah, this just makes me not want to ride this wheel at all. And that's why the pads are off. I'm not jumping it anymore, especially now that I have the Blitz around. So it sucks. And I hope it gets fixed soon. So if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon. What a shame.